Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Dark Comics #1 from Imperial Comics. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access, and this is the newest issue. It's The People of Andor. And it's usually a full color, full size, 12-page comic book with backups from Chris Knox and Paul Corjon. But this month, I'm going to go back to doing full color. I haven't been doing color for a little while, and I miss it, and I think it looks a lot better. And this is the latest issue, number 24, and it's a wraparound, so it's pretty cool. You can get these at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin or Alex Turbin. I can't remember which. I hope it's Alex Turbin. Or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com, and you can check out Random Access, Mutandis, Forlorn, Cyrene, Queller, all of the different things that I've done in my publishing history. Or you can just message me at alexturbin0441 @yahoo.com is my email, or alexturbin0441 at Instagram. So I'm always really happy to be pleasantly surprised. I got this this summer when I was away at a comic shop, and it was just one of those indie books that I was like, oh, I'll pick it up and I'll review it for the channel, and it'll probably be this not something I'm really into, but it's one of those fantastic little surprises that I enjoyed this comic. And if there were more, I don't think there are any more. I think this is the only one. I would definitely pick up more. It's not a power comic. When you kind of look at it real quick, you kind of can think that, yeah, maybe it is a power comic, because the lines are kind of it's very loose style, and it's just very loose, and it has a lot of it's not janky, but it's something that when you first look at it, you're like, maybe it is, but it's definitely not a power comic. At least it's not for me. It's written, I think, they don't really have the credits for anything. The only credits they have is this part here where they have the address of the company and all that stuff, and they just have the names James Barnes and John Bridges, and I think that's the writer and the artist of the book. So that's as far as I know about it. I've tried to look at stuff up on the Googles, but I couldn't find anything about either one of them and or Dark Comics. As far as I know, this was the only issue that they ever produced, and that's really kind of too bad. I really kind of wish they had made some more. So let's get into the story, and then we'll double back and talk about the writing and the art. So the first thing is the intro page. It's not about the publishers, it's not about the artists, not about the writers. It's all about the story, which is I'm good about that, because it gives you a little bit of background detail. Actually, it's a lot of background detail, and really it basically breaks down to there were these this horde of demons and magical creatures that roamed the earth, and there was humans, and they had like a conflict of some sort, which it very much like my own. That whole setting is basically my my history of my universe. Is there was a magical races and a human races, and they were going to have this peace talks, and then the humans kind of backstabbed them and sent them away and stuff like that. So this is very much the same, where there was like a war, and the humans came up with the some kind of magical talisman, or some kind of weapon, some kind of magical weapon, and he defeated the magical creatures. They're partly magical creatures. It goes into detail about which ones are fighting for the humans and which ones are fighting with the demons. It's like ogres fight with demons, giants fight with humans, and then there's all kinds of just spirits and stuff. You soon realize that this is Chinese. I don't think it was made by Chinese people, but it has a certain amount of Chinese flair to it. I don't think any of this is any kind of either Chinese history or Chinese mythology or anything like that. I think this is completely redone by these two artists and writers, and they just wanted to create this storyline, which is it's really cool. So like I said, they had this giant soul magnet is the name of the weapon. You never actually see it. So there was some sort of war or whatever. The humans used the soul magnet to disperse the demons, and almost all of them are gone except. And then there was a temple built to hold the soul magnet, and it was guarded by an ancient old magician, sorcerer or whatever. And he had with him he had gathered a group of people to protect the soul magnet, and that's kind of where the story begins because the beginning of the story is there's these bad guys, which is Sima Chima, the fox spirit, and she's like the main bad guy, and Kang Tong, the ogre, San Din Ha, and the Shine Su Su, the demoness twins, and Zi Shang and Zi Wan, the cannibal brothers. So you've got these interesting villains that are going to the temple to find the soul magnet and destroy it so that they can bring back all of their demon friends and stuff. So it's very, you know exactly what's going on, and it's written very like kung fu-ish. It's almost like, although I don't remember any kung fu movies that had this much magic and stuff like that. They're superheroes. They're almost superheroes. It's not until Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon where you kind of or you kind of see some of the more magical aspects, and then actually the Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle, where really a lot of that magic comes into play. And I really love all of those movies. So this is really intriguing and fascinating to me. So it's basically just a fight scene for the very first beginning. Really, the whole thing is kind of a fight scene, and then they kind of just have dialogue where it's very kung fu movie-ish, where hey, I will fight you, and no, you will fight me, and I will beat you up, and stuff like that. But the dialogue is a little bit better than that because it's written by an American. I believe he's American. And so the dialogue isn't like badly dubbed stuff. It's just a little bit more to the point. There's not a lot of interplay between characters that is has anything of real substance. It's all about I'm going to join the fight, and they won't stop me. I'm not going to die for this, or whatever like that. So these bad guys attack the sanctuary, the temple, or whatever, and their first come upon one of the characters. I can't remember his name. His name is, I can't remember. Living Phoenix. No, that's the name of the temple is the Phoenix Mountain. I don't know what his name is. Anyway, he sends his bird to attack this ogre, and the ogre just smashes it. And so they respond. The evil fox princess, queen, demon, whatever, turns into a fox, and she attacks this guy. And he says to his brother or his friend or whatever to go to the temple and warn the master and tell him what's going on. So this is very typical kung fu storyline where they're just being attacked in the temple and they have to defend themselves, and really just a lot of violence and almost comical violence, but sometimes not. And then so he goes back to the temple, or he was in the temple, I guess. He was in the temple above it. You didn't really think that they were that close to the temple and the temple walls and stuff, but apparently they were. So then you get to see all of the good guys. This is kind of Marvel-y, where Marvel would have the X-Men or the Brotherhood or whatever, and they would say underneath who the Brotherhood were, Blob and Magneto and stuff, and then you would show the good guys, the X-Men, and underneath you would say it would show their powers and their name and their powers and stuff like that, which is Master C, Shang Shen, Dang Zhen, and Dang Chen, brothers of Dang Pao, and Chang Zhao, the giant better known as Brutal Axe. So it's really cool. Another thing that I'm super into is Dynasty Warriors and Legend of the Three Kingdoms. I love all of those characters. I love Guan Yu and Zhang Fei and Lu Bu and all of those characters. I actually have the actual books that I read that it says in the book not to be taken out of China or not to be read outside of China, which is pretty interesting. Maybe I'll kind of try to go through those again. I might have to read them, but they're huge tomes of books. There's five of them, and they're like over 1,000 pages each. So it's a pretty big undertaking, and it's not easy reading. It's kind of janky reading as well. But there's a lot of magical, weird stuff that happens in those too. And so I'm really I kind of know about this lore and this kind of thing, and I really am loving it. And so it goes off into a fight scene where the good guys decide that they're going to go leave the temple and they're going to fight the bad guys. And one of them, I couldn't really tell exactly what was happening, but apparently he's using his powers to dig into the earth. And this guy has a fire wheel, and he lights it on fire so he can kind of fly on it. And this one just has a magical sword or whatever, and he can teleport. He teleports right to the bad guys, and they just have this huge fight scene, and they're saying lots of different things. Such speed from a mortal. How can this be? And it's like that, a lot of that stuff. You must wait, sisters. This infernal human must be destroyed, for he has hurt me. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of magical stuff, and they've got really cool weapons and everything. And I really love all of the characters, the bad guys and the good guys. Here's one of the demons fighting the one of the good guys, and I can't tell their names. I read them once, but I can't do it again. So they just kind of have this huge fight where good guys kill some of the bad guys kill some of the good guys. One of the good guys actually cuts him in half, and he's trying to get the main Fox character because she's kind of the ringleader of the all of the demons and stuff. So he gets picked up by an ogre and he's going to be crushed. But then I actually, same thing that happens in, I swear to God that I wrote my Queller storyline where one of the giants, the giantess picks up the Death Knight, and the Death Knight uses his, no, actually, she picks up Queller and he uses his sword to cut her, and she drops him. This same thing happens, only he flings him into the sky, and the guy with the flaming wheel here catches him. So they're in the sky, and he's flying, and he's holding on to him, and he's like, "But I can't do anything while I'm holding on to you. So get out of here." So he kind of drops him, and there's these flying demons that are attacking the guy with the wheel. And at first he does pretty good. They try to bound him with these rope things, but he's Lord of the Fire, so he just burns them. But then one of the flying demons spits some demon whatever onto his fire wheel, and it blows it up or whatever, so he can't fly anymore. So he's kind of gonna die, and they're holding him. I don't know if it actually shows him dying. So then it goes to another place where the giant great axe and the ogre are going to fight, and they have a little battle, and that all's really cool. And the ogre pushes the giant, which he's not very. I guess the ogre is just bigger than the giant. He pushes him over there, and I don't know if he knocks him out or whatever. And then so it goes to another fight scene, which is this very much happens in all of kung fu movies, where if there's multiple characters, they'll just kind of go from scene of a battle to a scene of a battle to a scene of a battle until there's some sort of resolution. And one of the brothers is so angry at the good guy for cutting his other brother in half. He's like, "I'm going to throw him. I'm going to throw you at the good guy, and you can suck his blood and reanimate or whatever." So he's like they're like vampires, I guess, as well as demons or whatever. So the main good guy, I can't remember his name, just whips out his sword, and this sword looks a lot like the green dragon. Is that the name of the sword in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? I think it's the Green Dragon, which is what Guan Yu uses. He has the Green Dragon, which is awesome. And so they just kind of fight back and forth, and eventually, uh, I don't know if he runs away. No, they just have a fight, and they keep fighting. And the leader, the old priest or wizard or whatever, teleports to him. And before that, he had told him that if they started to lose, that they were supposed to retreat back into the castle. But this guy says, "I stay with my brothers to fight through death." Um, and so he didn't fall back, and now his brothers are dying, and the old master has come to kind of save the day. And so the fox and he both have these bravado lines where they're talking about how they're gonna defeat the other ones, and he throws his magic at her, and she throws her magic at him, and so the old man is just finally like, we have to retreat, we have to find a new thing to do. And so he comes to it must be the basement of the temple, and he shows the Shang Shen. Um, he shows him the signet, the magnet, soul magnet. Shows him the soul magnet. He wants him. He wants Chang Shen to kind of protect the soul magnet and do what needs to be do what needs to be done. And so he teleports. He turns Chang Shen into like a like he puts the soul magnet into his spirit or something like that, and then he does some sort of magical thing, and then the bad guys burst in, and they want to kill everybody, and so finally she kills the old man, the old sorcerer, and then the bad guys are talking about what's going to happen now that they can't find the soul magnet because he dispersed it or sent him whatever. And then it goes into this weird kind of thing where it says that the old master was, and the soul magnet was given this palace from this goddess, and it would remain as long as he was alive, and as soon as he died, it was made from her, and it was part of her soul or body or whatever. So as soon as he died from some mystical place or whatever, she takes back what is hers, and so the palace kind of crumbles and disappears, and then there's just this mountaintop. So then, without any kind of saying what is happening, it's Hollywood Cemetery, Richmond, Virginia. They don't say it's the future. They don't say what's happening. It kind of just goes from there. And I was not put out by reading it. I kind of knew his clothing was different. He's an American, or it does say Richmond, Virginia, so it's not the same location. But they could have said a little bit more, but you didn't have to. And so there's this guy, and he's got a pack, and this is very much in the vein of my kind of comics, because he seems to be like some sort of demon hunter, and he's in the cemetery, and he's seeing this witch and her cronies, and they're digging up this body, and they're doing all this magical stuff, and he's got this pack of magical items, which is what Queller has. So they finally unearth the body, but this character looks very much like a cross between Doctor Strange and Constantine, John Constantine, which is really awesome because I love both of those characters. And so the witch does this pentagram, and they're summoning this demon, and he's like, "You have no idea what's going on. This is crazy." And she starts to do the summoning circle, and this thing opens up above their head, and it's some kind of weird portal, and the body that they dug up, I guess they're using that as some sort of a summoning conduit for the giant demon that they want to summon. By Ezekiel, I don't know, by Ezekiel or by Minerva, I'm not sure who these are, whether that's the name of the demon or what. So someone summoned the demon, and the witches summon the demon, and he's kind of doing all kinds of weird stuff. But he's not to be controlled. He doesn't want to be controlled because he's an evil demon. So he just starts like burning people and her helpers and stuff. And she's trying to control the demon using her wand. And she's like, "Get back here!" Because they just kind of take off. They run away. And so the demon hunter actually, I can't remember what he does. Maybe he does some sort of magic to him, but he is talking to the demon and like he's going to unsummon him or something like that. And then he says the eye of true seeing, which is eye of Amagado. So basically, he basically is Doctor Strange in a more actiony kind of way than the Doctor Strange is. And so, but there's this like tornado storm thing going on, where he's like, "What did you summon?" And she thought that she was just summoning the demon, but apparently the old master had sent Chang Shu into the future, and he is a demon fighter as well. So he hops into the fray, and he's going to start fighting the demon. And the demon realizes who this is, and he kind of is afraid of him. And so he's just like, "Please don't banish me. Please don't kill me. Just banish me to wherever." And he's like, "No, I'm going to kill you." And so the demon's finally like, "All right, well, then we'll fight." So they get into this fight, and eventually the magician, Doctor Strange, like guy, it doesn't actually say his name. He just kind of does some magical stuff, I think. And, oh, yeah, he uses some sort of Chang Shen strikes a pose, and layers of reality seem to fall away for an instant. A dark dimension is glimpsed. Then Chang Shen is gliding like a deadly dream towards the demon. So he's just gonna attack him. And then he's got this weird power stuff in his pocket to kill demons. And I don't know what I guess all right. So the demon slayer or whatever, the American demon slayer, is fighting the witch because she is doing whatever. And so the demon finally melts away because Chang Shen uses magical herb potions to kill it. And then the witch and the demon slayer talk to Chang Shen, and Chang Shen doesn't know who's the good guy and who the bad guy is. And because they both say that the other one summoned the demon, and Chang Shen uses his magical coin that's attached to his sword to see the reality of things, and he banishes the witch, and so she takes off. So then they have this friendly, cordial thing where the demon hunter says, "Hey, who are you? Let's get out of this rain. Let's go back to my house, and I offer you some hot chocolate." And Chang Shen's like, "What? Hot chocolate?" And then he says, "How about tea and some food?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, that sounds good." So they just kind of take off, and they're going to work. They're gonna work out what they're gonna do with the demons that people are trying to summon and stuff like that. So that's the end of it. And then there's an advertisement for Divisible Man. I don't know if that was ever a thing or it's just like a page, background page or whatever. And then a couple advertisements for comic book buying places and stuff like that. And then appearing in Cracked, The Ugly Family. I don't know what that is. Is that really from Cracked? I don't know. So, yeah, let's get into the writing. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to. Especially at first, I was like, "Oh, this is just gonna be like kind of a cheesy Chinese ripoff, Americanized Chinese ripoff of some lore, some mystical stuff." But it didn't really read like that. It did read. The dialogue is not really fantastic, but it reads like an action movie. It reads like an action movie, and that's what it is. It's just this great mystical action movie with superheroes and supervillains, and it's really awesome, and I really love it. The writing is, people all talk the same, but the writing is actually pretty good, and especially when the plot goes from old China to modern day Virginia. I really wasn't expecting that. I thought the whole thing was going to be just these Chinese people fighting demons and stuff. But when it came to the future and there were witches and demonologists and stuff like that and summoning another giant demon, and then he came to the future, that was really fantastic. And I really like that. Some of the writing is, like I said, it's a little clunky at times where they don't really know what to say, so they're just kind of filling in dialogue. I get that problem too. When you're doing a fight scene, I mean, are you going to write it like Spider-Man? Are you going to write it like Deadpool? Is there going to be funny, quirky things? But it reads like an old kung fu movie where they're just like, I'm going to defeat you. I'm going to lose to you. You're going to beat me. That kind of thing. Or you're not going to beat me. That kind of dialogue, which is really kind of interesting. Interesting in a colloquial kind of old Chinese kung fu movie way. So the writing is very. I like the plot a lot better than the dialogue. So that's a thing. That's pretty good. The dialogue isn't horrible. It is what it is. It's an old kung fu movie dialogue. But the plot is very interesting and I really like it. And even the beginning, whole kung fu and demons and stuff like that. That's very interesting. So I'm going to give that a pretty good ranking, the writing. As for the art, I am really torn. Some of the art is really fantastic. Like this page here, I really love the anatomy and the poses and stuff. And I just think that if he had done tighter pencils, I might have enjoyed this a little bit more. I think that a lot of this stuff it's kind of like how I draw, where I just maybe miss a little bit some of the little details that this guy misses, and it doesn't really have all all of the dark blacks and shadows and stuff that it could have. He does have zipatone or duo-shade or whatever, which is very interesting and pleasant and stuff. But he could have added a little bit more detail to some of these art pieces, and I would have enjoyed it a little bit better. Saying that, the underlying structure of the figures and the anatomy and the facial structure, that's all very solid. It's all super solid. And the narrative art, I never ever once had to go back and reread anything because of the narrative art. I didn't quite understand what this was, but I kind of knew what it was. And then eventually later, it kind of shows what he is. So some of that action sequences kind of works. But in like the fight scenes are really nice. The kicks and the punches and stuff like that. And the poses, like he hops out of the ground like this. He drills into the earth and then he hops out of the ground. It's really fantastic poses, and I really like them. I'm assuming the same guy that drew the stuff inked it. Maybe he went directly to the inks, or there was really loose pencils, so it kind of has that loose pencil-y look. And the because the artwork, the inking is it's really nicely flowing and stuff. I just wish that some of these lines connected. That it takes a slightly takes it away from the artwork for me a little bit when some of these lines aren't connected. It almost like, not lazy. I'm not gonna say lazy. It's just a fast kind of a way of working. But I really love the layouts and the positions of all of these creatures and characters and stuff. Like when he throws this guy, and he hurls him, and he's got such a great pose. Like his legs are behind him, and he's holding his arm. So really, one of the great things about the poses is the interaction of the characters. And that is a huge thing, which I don't think I've actually talked a lot about in the artwork of a lot of these comics that I've reviewed, is the interaction of the characters. Like, it's one thing to draw a cool pose of the character. It's a total another thing to have the interaction between these characters, whether or not he's holding him or she's spitting, or see, here's just a cool pose and he's being thrown. So yeah, this artist is really fantastic, and I really like his art. I do wish maybe he had taken a little bit more time to kind of finish some of the line work. Maybe it would have been better if it was all in color, because then you could have distinguish things a little bit better, and they could have thrown in some cool effects. But as it is, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the inking line work. There's not a whole lot of different texture, and that's probably my biggest issue. They kind of try to add a little bit of texture with the line work and stuff, but it kind of it kind of loses me there. But yeah, I really enjoyed the artwork a lot, and I really like it. Should it have been color? No, because the colorist, whoever did this cover, not very good. They chose a yellowish, orangish skin tone, an orangish background, and an orangish reddish bad guy. Why would they do that? It all looks exactly the same. It's all orange, only it's not in a good monochromatic way. It just kind of all blends together. This would have been much better if it had been, a bright green or something, or a bright blue, and then it would have really kind of stood out a lot of this stuff. I do like the logo. It's really cool. Other than the colors, I really like the cover. I think that's cool. And the whole interior of the book is really fascinating to me, and I really enjoy it. So here you go. Dark Comics, #1 from Imperial Comics from 1987. I looked them up. They're like $3. You can get this for $3. They didn't make any more of them, but it's a really good read. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give this an 8.5. I'm going to give this an 8.5. Mostly, I can't give it a 9. I can't give it a 9 because it's not that good. But I can't go lower than 8 because it's not that bad either. It's got a lot of qualities that I really enjoy and I really love. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.5. And I did enjoy it. If there were more issues, I would go out and buy them. If I ever see any Dark Comics, if there is a 2 or 3, then I would definitely pick it up. Because I really did enjoy it, and I wouldn't be surprised that if there was a second issue, that they learned from the first issue and kind of made things a little bit better. But who knows? I don't know. Let me know if you guys know of anything about Dark Comics and or the artists and writers. This James Barnes and John Bridges. So yeah, Dark Comics 8.5. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification button. And let me know what you guys think. And thanks for watching, and have a great day, and keep on creating.